talked in the past about a Saturday morning moment to describe a feeling that I can kind of channel back up. You know, being younger on a Saturday when you woke up early for school and you were tired and you were exhausted and you didn't want to get up, but you got up because you thought you had school and you thought you were late, whatever it might be, right? And then you realize it's Saturday and you get to lay back down and go to sleep, and how amazing that feeling was. And for me, what made it particularly amazing was it was an instance where our conscious and our subconscious were completely aligned, and there was no guilt, there was nothing. It was just pure aligned kind of pleasure, right? Our subconscious, just in the short term, in the moment, was tired and wanted us to go back to sleep to get that pleasure. Our conscious mind was thinking, well, you got to get up because you have stuff you have to do. But then it realizes, oh, it's Saturday. You have nothing to do. You can go back to sleep. You can do what you want, subconscious. It's totally cool. I want that too. It makes sense. The math checks out, what have you. And that just feels amazing. I think there's another side of that feeling, which goes in the complete opposite direction, but I think it holds in a similar fashion. So that's kind of the good way when it works out. I'll give an example to illustrate the other side of it. I struggle with my temper. I struggle with anger. I've struggled with it my whole life. You know, I tend to, when I was a kid, I'd throw temper tantrums. I still do as an adult sometimes. Just get angry and frustrated and yell and curse and all that stuff. And of late, I've been much more cognizant of that and trying to kind of understand it and control it to the best I can. And what I realized is when I became more aware of it and kind of observed what was happening when those moments came up, I realized that it wasn't a challenge of, you know, believing that it's wrong to yell and curse. And like, I understood that conceptually, right? I knew that it was wrong. I knew it was bad to do, and I knew I shouldn't do it. So it's not as if in that moment when I did it, I forgot that and I thought it was okay. What it often was that it felt like I hit a certain threshold, right? Whatever the thing was, the circumstance, the stress level of it, if it was talking to somebody, the thing they said, or the way they were acting, a threshold was crossed where a green light was given, and my subconscious was allowed to come back in, right? So let's use an example. If I'm talking to my mother and she's giving me advice of how to raise my child, and maybe she's being a little bit aggressive or whatever, right? It's making me a little bit defensive. My natural inclination is to get angry, right? To get defensive, get angry, maybe yell back. That's my subconscious. That's what it wants to do. It's hearing something that it doesn't like hearing, maybe some sort of inconvenient truth, right? Maybe she's giving me some hard truths about my parenting that are things that I need to change, and I don't like that. So my subconscious senses discomfort, doesn't like it, wants to fight back, yell, right, scream. But my conscious mind, because I think about it a lot now, kicks in and says, no, that's not what we do. It's no benefit to that. We're not going to do that. Let's just hear it out. Let's, learn, let's understand it. And you go down that path, right? But then at some point she pushes too far, or she says something, or she does something that I feel like crossed the line. And now my conscious looks at my subconscious and says, green light, go ahead. Like, we're aligned now. Let's do this. Let her have it. And I lose my mind and I, start yelling and maybe say something I regret to my mom. The parallel there, right, is that conscious subconscious relationship. In the one hand, they align, but it's true, it's right. What they're aligned on is effective, and it's fully aligned to the objective in that moment, and everything kind of works well. In this other scenario where I lose my temper, it's perceived to be that way, right? It comes off as if they're aligned, but they're aligned on the wrong thing or in a negative way. There's still an issue there. I shouldn't lose my shit, and I shouldn't start, yelling or fight with my mom. But because she's triggered me to such a level, or I can't handle it at whatever level, it appears as if they've reached alignment. In some ways, it's really the subconscious winning, right? It's the conscious mind kind of tapping out and saying, I don't know how to handle this situation, so you take it. So it's less about alignment. It's more about there's an agreement that you could take it, but we're actually not on the same page here. But it's an interesting way for me to think about it, because I've struggled with that. Like, why am I still losing my temper? Why is this still happening? And it's that threshold. And there's got to be a realization that, like, hey, the threshold is made up. That's a cognitive out my mind's created to allow me to take the easier route, to allow my subconscious to kick in. So helpful for me to think of it that way and hopefully try and improve.